Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Mr. Sarah again and our team, IMEC. I hope all of you had a good break yesterday. I'm sure it was a tiring day, sitting in front of the PC, laptop, okay, listening to all the papers presented, taking the juice and the extract of whatever you want to learn in your life. Okay, good. Without further ado, we're going to start with four best practices today. And these four best, okay, for those first time coming, best practices means the best use of all the educational technology theories in schools and their everyday lives. So for that, I would like to call upon Mr. Noor Azman, right, as a moderator, as to take over the stage. Good morning, sir. How are you? Good, excellent.
Morning, very good morning, Mr. Sarah. How are you today?
Thank you. Fantastic. From Penang, sunshine, excellent. Beaches are
Uh,
beautiful. Okay, Dr. Hafiz actually promised us curry puff and coffee.
don't forget
So
about
I
me,
dah ada
Mr.
coffee
Sarah.
dah. Tapi coffee kosong. Coffee kosong. Okay.
Right.
So, sir, the stage, okay, I don't know whether to call it stage. The screen is yours.
Okay.
The
All right.
screen is yours now. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Okay, Mr.
Enjoy.
Sarah. Thank you so much, Mr. Sarah.
Thank you.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. And a very good morning to everyone. Today, let us bring our best four presenters for your attention. These four selected presenters among the best in best teaching practices. And now, please welcome our first presenter, Cikgu Goh Kok Meng. The screen is yours.
Sejahtera saya ucapkan kepada para hadirin, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang saya hormati. Sebelum saya memulakan perkongsian saya ingin mengambil peluang untuk mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada JPN Negeri Perak atas peluang dan ruang diberi kepada saya agar saya dapat membuat perkongsian pengalaman saya bersama dengan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan di 15 International Malaysian Educational Technology Convention 2021. Nama saya Cikgu Goh Kok Ming dari SJKC Ciseng 2, Negeri Perak. Sebelum memulakan perkongsian saya ingin membawa tuan-tuan dan puan-puan untuk mengenali sekolah saya. Seperti yang ditunjukkan dalam gambar ini menunjukkan situasi sekolah saya dan sekolah ini merupakan sekolah kurang murid yang terdiri daripada 27 orang murid dan 7 orang guru yang penuh dengan semangat dan berdedikasi tinggi. Sejak tahun 2016, saya ditempatkan di sekolah ini. Sehinggalah hari ini, banyak sangat pengalaman, banyak sangat perkara telah saya pelajari dalam tempoh masa ini. Pada tahun 2016, setelah saya ditempatkan, saya mengambil 1 tahun untuk mengenal pasti dan mengenali komuniti dan anak-anak murid sebenarnya. Dan saya dapati terdapat beberapa cabaran kontekstual yang dihadapi oleh mereka. Antaranya adalah mereka memerlukan pendedahan yang lebih tinggi ataupun lebih banyak terhadap perkara-perkara yang baru dan penggunaan teknologi digital dalam proses pengajaran dan pembelajaran mereka. Jadi untuk membantu mereka, saya cuba melaksanakan ataupun membawa sesuatu perubahan dengan menerapkan penggunaan digital untuk membawa sesuatu perubahan kepada mereka. Berdasarkan kontekstual yang cabaran kontekstual yang telah dikenal pasti, saya pun bersama dengan rakan-rakan mengadakan beberapa program ataupun aktiviti bersama dengan anak-anak murid. Seperti yang ditunjukkan dalam gambar raja ini, kita melakukan aktiviti dengan pengajaran yang bertema dengan mengadakan bagaimana nak menerapkan ilmu matematik, ilmu reka bentuk dalam satu sesi pengajaran agar mereka dapat menggunakan ilmu tersebut dalam kehidupan mereka dengan menggunakan teknologi sama ada dia digital ataupun dalam bentuk fizikal. Kita juga mengadakan perjumpaan maya bersama dengan cikgu-cikgu ataupun anak-anak murid dari Taiwan, Thailand, Vietnam dan negara-negara ASEAN yang lain. Jadi dari situ kita murid dapat melatihkan atau meningkatkan kemahiran berfikir dan komunikasi mereka melalui aktiviti berbantukan teknologi. Seterusnya, untuk meningkatkan prestasi murid seperti yang ditunjukkan dalam gambar raja ini, saya menggunakan pengajaran atau pembelajaran bertema seperti yang ditunjukkan adalah IMETC2021 sebelum pandemik bermula pada tahun 2020. Kita menggunakan mengajar mereka bagaimana kita nak menghadapi situasi tersebut, mengajar mereka bagaimana sebenarnya kita nak mengkoordinasi, dan sewaktu pandemik menggunakan bertema seperti yang ditunjukkan Super Mario, menjadikan maharaja untuk priority citation bersama dengan cikgu-cikgu bahasa Inggeris. Dan di situ untuk pengukuhan dan pemulihan, gambar yang ditunjukkan adalah sewaktu berada di sekolah, sesi bersemuka. Kita mengadakan aktiviti seperti escape room dengan bertema dan mereka perlu menyelesaikan beberapa tugasan untuk mendapatkan kod akses. Dan di bawah menunjukkan bahan-bahan teknologi yang mudah ataupun dikatakan low-tech untuk membantu anak-anak murid untuk mengkukuh balik kemahiran yang difokuskan. Untuk meningkatkan sesuatu yang kemahiran berkomunikasi mereka, kita juga melakukan aktiviti market space dengan murid perlu membentangkan hasil kumpulan dan hasil individu kepada anak-anak murid lain dan berlakunya penilaian rakan sebaya. Dan gambar yang ditunjukkan di sini merupakan aktiviti kita membentangkan project scratch, memberikan justifikasi kenapa dia perlu masukkan unsur-unsur dan elemen tersebut kepada rakan-rakan yang lain. Bukan itu sahaja, untuk meningkatkan tahap profesional bidang kepakaran pula, dengan rezeki Tuhan diberi peluang untuk berkongsi sedikit bersama dengan sekumpulan guru pelatih dari IPG Kampus Darul Aman bagaimana melakukan pengintegrasian teknologi dan STEM dalam pengajaran dan pembelajaran. Dan pada waktu yang sama, sewaktu pandemik, saya dengan seorang rakan sebaya telah menubuhkan satu grup Telegram yang dinamakan Cikgu Get Certified CGC dan telah mengumpul sebanyak 9,917 ahli yang aktif untuk berkongsikan bagaimana aktiviti dan cara-cara pengintegrasian teknologi digital dalam PDPR ataupun dalam PDP. Untuk meningkatkan, contohnya untuk mengketengahkan dan popularkan penggunaan Minecraft dalam proses pengajaran pembelajaran, kita juga mengadakan webinar, latihan dan pertandingan Minecraft Challenge versi Malaysia pada tahun 2019 dan 2020 dan 2021 untuk meningkatkan minat bahawasanya Minecraft boleh digunakan untuk meningkatkan kreativiti, pemikiran kritikal, kolaborasi dan komunikasi anak-anak murid. Jadi bukan itu saja, juga terlibat dalam aktiviti penggerak inovasi di Labuan bersama dengan Persatuan Laris untuk membantu dan mengketengahkan bagaimana guru boleh menggunakan teknologi digital dalam proses pengajaran atau pembelajaran dengan lebih baik dan membawa impak yang lebih tinggi. Bukan itu sahaja, juga berkongsi ilmu bersama dengan rakan-rakan yang mengikuti kursus MPQL dan diberi peluang untuk mempersembahkan apa yang sebenarnya berlaku di sekolah dan projek-projek yang telah dilakukan bersama dengan anak-anak murid di International Society for Technology in Education Live 2021. Jadi untuk memberikan dan membawa impak yang lebih tinggi, saya juga terlibat dalam inovasi PDP dan inovasi sekolah dari aspek individual, terutamanya sewaktu pandemik. Kita menghadapi masalah untuk membina hubungan dan yang aktif dan bagaimana kita nak berkomunikasi dengan anak-anak murid dan ibu bapa agar mereka dapat mengikuti jadual PTPR dengan baik. Jadi wujudnya satu apps yang dinamakan Smart CS2 untuk memudahkan anak-anak murid bagaimana mereka boleh akses jadual waktu dan mengikuti bahan-bahan dan modul-modul tutorial yang telah disediakan oleh guru-guru sewaktu penutupan sekolah agar bahan tersebut dapat diakses secara sistematik. Bukan itu sahaja, juga wujudkan beberapa apps untuk membantu murid-murid mempelajari matematik secara aktif dan ikut kadar kendiri, iaitu inovasi matematik apps, iaitu bentuk 3D dan inovasi kaedah D- untuk membantu mereka mempraktis dan memperkukuh kemahiran dari segi mengenali bentuk 3D dan bagaimana meningkatkan kemahiran bahagi. Dengan rezeki Tuhan, inovasi-inovasi ini telah diberikan anugerah emas dalam WEX UITM 2021, Insight UM, ISEC dan IRIA pada tahun 2019. Dari aspek rakan sebaya juga, dengan keizinan dan kebenaran dan sokongan padu daripada pihak pentadbir, iaitu Puan Guru Besar dan rakan-rakan sekerja, kita melibatkan semua guru dengan menggunakan berbantukan teknologi untuk membawa sesuatu inovasi dalam mata pelajaran masing-masing, terutamanya mata pelajaran bahasa Cina, bahasa Melayu dan bahasa English. Kita berfokus kepada 3 bahasa dulu untuk memperkukuhkan penguasaan bahasa dalam kalangan anak murid. Jadi setelah kita melakukan kajian ditakan, kita wujudnya ada inovasi dan kita membawa kepada pertandingan. Dengan rezeki Tuhan sekali lagi, semua pasukan diberikan anugerah perak dalam pertandingan KIPP 2021. 100% guru sekolah menyertai dan memperoleh anugerah perak, termasuklah juga Puan Guru Besar. Jadi dari segi murid sekolah pula, kami juga mengalahkan murid melibatkan diri dalam pertandingan inovasi, terutamanya dan melatih murid menghasilkan sesuatu inovasi yang berbantukan teknologi agar mereka dapat mewujudkan sesuatu yang lebih dekat kepada kegunaan mereka, sebab mereka merupakan pengguna utama dalam PDP kita. Jadi murid juga melahirkan sesuatu apps dengan bantuan daripada berbagai pihak. Kita melaksanakan satu projek dan projek tersebut telah diistiraf dan dihargai oleh National Geography bahawa bagaimana kita nak menggunakan teknologi untuk menyelesaikan sesuatu masalah. Kita mengemukakan jalan penyelesaian yang difikirkan praktikal oleh anak-anak murid di sekolah dan kita bentang kepada National Geography. Akhirnya, kita mendapatkan penghargaan daripada National Geography. Jadi, untuk memberikan impak yang lebih tinggi, kita juga melibatkan diri dalam projek yang dinamakan Climate Action Project yang disokong oleh UNESCO. Kita wujudkan beberapa projek, beberapa poster dengan menggunakan platform Canva untuk meningkatkan kesedaran komuniti terhadap situasi yang kita hadapi. Contohnya, sewaktu pandemik, kita perlukan banyak bersenam. Jadi, murid pun wujudkan poster bersenam, stop hunt, menjaga endangered species, menjaga harimau, say no plastic dan berbagai projek yang berteraskan SDG iaitu Sustainable Development Goals di bawah projek yang disetujui oleh UNESCO. Jadi dengan salah satu projek iaitu EcoBrick, which is Say No to Plastic, kita mendapat sedikit penghargaan daripada we teachers di mana satu projek yang berkolaboratif bersama dengan Microsoft Malaysia ataupun Microsoft. Jadi kita mengketengahkan, berkongsikan dalam satu video tentang apa yang sebenarnya kita lakukan untuk meningkatkan kesedaran komuniti sekeliling terhadap penggunaan plastik. Jadi di sini saya sertakan satu QR code untuk mengakses kepada video ringkas dalam seminit 20 saat dan video kini telah di-view sebanyak 49,000 oleh daripada satu dunia tentang apa yang kita lakukan. Dan saya rasa saya sangat bangga dengan anak-anak murid saya bahawa simple project tetapi dia membawa sesuatu impak yang tinggi. Jadi, bukan sahaja kita menggunakan teknologi dalam matematik, sains dan BM, kita juga menggunakan teknologi nak melatih murid menjadi future learners, future ready learners. Kita juga terapkan unsur 3D design dan printing dengan kerjasama MDEC dan Makers Empire dari Australia. Kita menyertai salah satu projek iaitu projek Chocolate Mall. Kita menggunakan platform Makers Empire untuk bina design untuk menjadikan satu chocolate mall dan kita cetak melalui 3D printer dan akhirnya kita mendapatkan perhatian daripada Makers Empire dan dia pun kongsi apa aktiviti yang sebenarnya kita boleh buat di sekolah rendah. Yang chocolate mall itu betul-betul boleh digunakan dan kita terapkan unsur aktiviti matematik dan reka bentuk. Jadi dari situ kita juga wujudkan satu pialah iaitu pialah Kahoot Malaysia 2020 untuk memberi satu aktiviti ataupun membuka sesuatu perspektif bahawa Kahoot bukan sahaja boleh digunakan dalam proses pengajaran dan pembelajaran, juga kita boleh digunakan untuk sebagai satu alat untuk membina jaringan daripada pelbagai tempat. Jadi aktiviti ini mendapat sambutan yang hangat dan aktiviti Piala Kahoot Malaysia 2021 akan dilaksanakan tak lama lagi. Jadi kita juga terlibat dalam satu aktiviti untuk memperkenalkan bansi, bagaimana kita boleh gunakan bansi dalam proses pengajaran dan dia akan membawa sesuatu aktiviti yang menarik sebenarnya yang dinamakan Microsoft Team dengan Bansi Week. Untuk itu juga, seperti yang dikatakan tadi, Kahoot sebenarnya bukan digunakan untuk kita main kuis saja, maka saya gunakan dia sebagai satu alat untuk mengkumpulkan cikgu-cikgu yang berada dalam situasi yang sama, iaitu cikgu-cikgu dari SKM. Kita berkumpul dan kita mengeluarkan idea bagaimana kita nak engage, kita nak melipatkan murid-murid di sekolah masing-masing dan mengadakan satu sesi kahut sesi untuk agar mereka dapat berinteraksi, berkongsikan keserongakan dalam pembelajaran. Jadi saya sertakan satu QR code yang dapat akses kepada blog-blog yang telah dituliskan berkaitan dengan cara-cara menggunakan teknologi pendidikan untuk membawa sesuatu pengajaran dan pembelajaran yang berimpak tinggi. So, dengan banyak aktiviti yang dikatakan, dengan aktiviti murid yang terlibat dengan Minecraft dan akhirnya kita dijemput untuk Minecraft Live pada 16 Oktober 2021. Okay. Jadi, untuk dari segi sekolah juga, untuk meningkatkan kualiti dan agar cikgu-cikgu boleh menggunakan teknologi yang lebih mendalam, kami mengikuti satu program iaitu Microsoft Innovative Educator MIE dan sebanyak 4 orang cikgu dipilih sebagai MIE expert dan saya juga pada waktu yang sama diberi peluang menjadi MIE fellow untuk tahun 2021 hingga tahun 2022. Jadi bukan saja daripada aspek kualiti murid dan juga aspek kualiti guru perlu ditekankan sebab aspek bagi saya secara personal aspek kualiti guru perlu dipertingkatkan agar kita membawa sesuatu impak yang lebih baik dalam pengajaran dan pembelajaran anak murid. Jadi dengan segaranya dengan rezeki Tuhan, pada tahun ni saya dianugerahkan oleh ISTI iaitu International Society for Technology in Education bagi 2 award iaitu Games dan Simulation dan Online dan Blended Learning. Jadi itu sahaja perkongsian saya. Saya minta maaf sekiranya terdapat kesilapan dan kekasaran bahasa. Segala yang baik datang daripada Tuhan, segala yang buruk datang daripada diri saya sendiri. Sekian, terima kasih.
Okey, terima kasih Cikgu Gok Kok Meng. Tahniah dan hebat Cikgu Gok Kok Meng ni. Bukan sekadar di dalam negara, di sekolah, sehingga peringkat antarabangsa. Dan saya ucapkan tahniah kepada Cikgu Gok Kok Meng. Tahniah sekali lagi. Dan seterusnya kita ada pembentang yang seterusnya. Pembentang seterusnya ialah Cikgu Tanish Balakrishnan yang akan membentangkan satu teknik pengajaran bahasa Tamil. Dipersilakan Cikgu Tanish Balakrishnan.
To fellow teachers and the audience. My name is Tanesh Balakrishnan. I'm an ICT teacher from SJKT Siddhapuram Pillai. Today, I'm going to present the Circuvium techniques, a method to master Tamil vocabulary and build sentences based on the meaning of basic words. The introduction. The situation in Malaysia that most teachers teach based on the existing curriculum and give priority on memorizing facts and copying notes and making exercise in a more examination-oriented teaching process. So this paper consists on mastering Tamil vocabulary and build sentences based on the meaning of basic words in SJKT. So we introduce Circuvium technique board game. So fun learning is one of the most important thing in 21st century education that students are love on gamifications. So vocabulary is widely used in oral, reading and writing skills. So based on the curriculum and assessment standard which called DSKP. So we are focusing on writing skills, and based on that, we could identify the problem that we face in the schools. So this study is on focusing mastery of Tamil vocabulary for SGKT students. And the issue that prompted us to create this circumvention verb, number one, we will identify that students face issues in the field of writing. Number two, the people's a lack of Tamil vocabulary. And number three, the people faces problems in constructing sentences based on the meaning. And number four, the people face problems in identifying the basic words of Tamil words. So in Bahasa Melayu, it is called kata dasar. So based on that, we came out with an objective and research question to help us to modify or to upgrade our Surkuvium board game. So number one, we did a need analysis where we need to identify the need for the design and development of Tamil Surkuvium techniques for year 4 students in implementation of classroom assessment. And for that, the research question was involved is there a need to design and develop the Tamil Surkuvium technique for year 4 students in the implementation of classroom assessment? Number one, what is the level of knowledge of year 4 students in learning Tamil? Number two, what is the level of students' skills in the construction of Tamil sentences in the implementation of classroom assessment? That's called PBD. And then for the phase of design and development, of course, we need to design the Surkuvium. And for that, the objective were design and develop the Surkuvium technique for year 4 students in the implementation of classroom assessment according to the expert views. So we need to evaluate the model. So the question were, what are the main constructs in the designing the Tamil Surkuvium technique in the implementation of classroom assessment from the aspect of expert consensus? And number two, what are the appropriate items to develop the Tamil Surkuvium technique in implementation of classroom assessment from the aspect of expert consensus? And the next was the phase of assessment. So where we divided it into two. Number one is effectiveness. Number two is usability. So based on the phase assessment effectiveness, the question were testing the effectiveness of the use of Tamil Surkuvium technique developed in the implementation of classroom assessment. So the question were, is there a difference in the achievement of students who follow the teaching using Tamil Surkuvium technique which the student would not follow it? And the usability, evaluate the applicability of Tamil Surkuvium technique based on the year 4 student teachers and the implementation of classroom assessment. And the research questions are, what is the usability assessment of Tamil Surkuvium technique based on the year 4 student in the implementation of classroom? And what is the level of competency of Tamil Surkuvium technique in improving the pedagogical knowledge of year 4 students based on the views of teacher who perform the assessment? And next, what is the level of satisfaction of year 4 students, Tamil students, toward the Tamil Surkuvium technique and the implementation of classroom assessment? So based on that, the research methodology that we took, that the researchers, we have used DDR, Design and Development Research Methodology, which is pioneered by the Ritchie and Klein 2007. So the phases are divided into three. Number one is phase 1, need analysis. Phase 2, design and development. And phase 3, implementation and evaluation. So the study sampling, okay, the need analysis, we use 30 Tamil students for total sampling, okay, as a random sampling. And phase 2, we use design and development. We use 5 Tamil panel experts throughout Malaysia. So we choose the 5 Guru Cemerlang, Bahasa Tamil, and to evaluate the Surkuvium technique. And then the implementation evaluation, where we got the data from the total sampling, 30 students of our quasi data, and 1 teacher for interview. The type of sampling that we use is random sampling and purposeful sampling. So the innovation that will be implemented, the Circuvium is a board game. It's a board game where we introduced 247 Tamil alphabet that we can use from year 1 to year 6 students. And the Circuvium game card includes word building board and 247 alphabet as well as the scan cards. So in this game, the people should construct words and say the meaning of the words, and people required to construct sentences with words created by referring to the dictionary. So at the end of the game, the student will construct the most words and sentences we call Solvendra as a champion of the Circuvium. So this innovation can be used in National Tamil School as well in National School students for mastering Tamil vocabulary by referring dictionary correctly. So the benefits from Circuvium innovation, we can say that the Circuvium is based on the general objective of Tamil language curriculum standard for primary school, which aims to enable students to achieve the following objective is based on the DSKP provided by the Ministry of Education. Number 1, provide responses based on instruction and order inquiries correctly. Number 2, produces a variety of writing, editing and writing words correctly. Number 3, appreciate the beauty and decency of language in literacy material and use the correct language system in speaking, reading and writing. And the last, appreciate and practice noble values, be positive, patriotic spirit and citizenship through language activities. So the research design, was, we did a questionnaire for teachers and students to see the extent of use of Circuvium among teachers and students. So to determine these analysis data, collection methods and population and determination of sample selection and pilot test and data analysis method. So this study uses a survey method where the respondent will answer the question that is prepared and the teachers need to use a Circuvium in implementation of teaching and learning in school, and that question instructed include 40 questions related to the Circuvium, various of types question formed including right or wrong. So based on that objective that we proposed in this research, and the first question were, is there a need to design and develop Tamil Circuvium technique for year 4 student in implementation of classroom assessment? The answer were, there is indeed a need to develop the Tamil Circuvium technique that were 93.3% of the students agree with the development of the module. If you can see this data over here, 28 students out of 30 students agreed for Circuvium technique where they want the gamification aspect in their learning methodology. And only 2 students were say no. So total 93.3% were agreed. So according to the research, there is a need of Circuvium gamification in the implementation of classroom assessment. So this finding of the study have given impression that level of use of Circuvium among students in teaching and learning and can be formulated as follows. If you look, most of the students know about the Circuvium among the students, and yet there is still item need to be seen in teachers should be venture in the field of innovation, where we can understand that the students are expecting some difference in the teaching and learning methodology. So this problem need to be taken immediate action as not to affect the problem of the teacher who do not have a skills of educational technology and innovation. So that means the teachers need to improvise the teaching pedagogical skills into educational technology, and they have to come up with some innovation based on the framework of 21st century education skills. So the teachers need to improvise their teaching style. Okay, the next is the Circuvium reliability. Is there a difference in the achievement of students who follow the teaching using Tamil Circuvium technique in which students will not follow it? That means we are compare the data before Circuvium and after Circuvium. So based on our research, since we started using Circuvium, we able to see that the students are improve a lot in their learning Tamil vocabulary and constructing words, sentences. Okay, if you can see the data, the class A before the Circovium the achievement was 68% before Circovium, and after we use the Circovium methodology, it can show that 98% of the students able to achieve the objective of the lesson, and they able to construct words based on the basic meaning of the vocabulary. And the class B, from the 51% before Circovium, we able to achieve 92%. So indeed, we can see that there is an improvement of academic achievement in Tamil language subjects. The next part is the usability of Circovium. Okay, so for this, what is the level of competency of Tamil Circovium technique in improving the pedagogical knowledge for the year 4 students based on the teacher's view who perform the class assessment using Circovium. So the finding of the interview show the level of efficiency of Circovium technique that can be improved student knowledge and can find out student weakness and can strengthen the students' learning domain, especially in sentence construction. And next is was the level of satisfaction of year 4 students towards Tamil Circovium technique, the implementation of classroom assessment. So the finding shows the interview data, the technique of teachers that use suitable for classroom assessment. By using Circovium board game, we can say that simply we can ease the workload and we can keep the classroom assessment of student records and as evidence to be given to the parent as the achievement in Tamil language. Okay. This Circovium was tested in few schools with Tamil school language experts, okay, evaluated by Manjung Tamil School Headmaster Council and Manjung District Tamil Teachers Council. They given the SKPMG standard. They have said that this Circovium method is based on the SKPMG2 standard 4, where the Manjung District Tamil Teachers Council certified that this is a aspect for teachers as planners. So it is based on the standard 4.1 teachers as planners. And the next is by Manjung District Headmaster Council. They have certified and they are given a certification stating that these Circovium methods are based on standard 4.6 student as active learners. At the same time, this Circovium was tested in India by IMETC2021, and they recognize this as a unified and collective vision board game based on the framework of 21st century education. And can you see that this Circovium board game it costs around 30 ringgit. Okay, as you can see here, this Circovium techniques is registered under Pesuruhjaya Sumpah, okay, judiciary, and we are in the process of getting patent registrations. Okay, so the summary of this overall Circovium, okay, we can see that the development of this module is a result that is a high novelty, which in line the finding of previous study shows there is no special assessment module for Tamil language students. The conclusion is divided into two, namely the level of Circovium innovation and student perception related to the Circovium. The level of Circovium further discuss the level of technological skills, knowledge of teachers, and attendance of teachers to class, and the use of Circovium in classroom for the purpose of PDP in schools. In the implementation of Circovium, we can understand the role of teacher in teaching and learning is a very big impact in developing teacher pedagogy that gives the main focus to teachers using innovation as a tool of disseminating knowledge to students and physically. At the same time, we can see that overall is answer all the questions based for the research, and we can find that this Circovium board game gamifications really helps the Tamil school students to master Tamil vocabulary and at the same time be able to construct Tamil sentences with the correct meaning. Okay, this is the board game that we have mentioned earlier. So we have a board over here, and we have a Tamil alphabet cards divided into 3 categories. Okay, so as you can see here, the students also play this game and they find it really enjoyable when we have a chances to construct words and by referring to the dictionary, and they find this really helping the students on their motivational factor, on their confident level of getting know on Tamil vocabulary. Okay, the total cost of manufacturing is 50 ringgit, and the selling price was 30 ringgit, which is proposed by few local company and international company for this Circovium board game. Okay, overall conclusions is answer all the questions in our research, where we're also able to extend student learning experience in Tamil language subjects through Circovium technique and the method to master Tamil vocabulary and construct sentences based on the meaning of base words. So the suggestion of the improvement, we are in the process of integrating the latest technologies such as virtual reality and augmented reality to form such modules, and where the students can use this module at home during the pandemic. So this is the recognition that we got so far in an international arena and presented locally in UPSI as a research paper over here. And recently we got a Nigeria Gold Award for Circovium method, and they are ready to adapt these into their country. To extend my thank to my Dean of Faculty of Education, Associate Professor Dr. Mallika Vasugi. At the same time, our JPN Para Director, Dr. Muhammad Suhaimi bin Muhammad Ali, and our Pejabat Pendidikan Daerah Ili Perak, and the excellent teachers around Malaysia who have really helped me to construct this module and evaluate it in their school. And especially my sorority teachers who really was a big backbone for entire of this success of this project. So thanks for the opportunity. I would like to see you again. Take care. Bye.
Tahniah Cikgu Tanish. Hebat Cikgu Tanish ni mengajar bahasa Tamil menggunakan kaedah dan teknik yang begitu hebat sehingga dikenali di peringkat antarabangsa dan dipatenkan. Tahniah kepada Cikgu Tanish. Baiklah, seterusnya kita ada pembentang seterusnya. Siapa dia? Okey, pembentang seterusnya ialah Cikgu Azmin Saleh. Cikgu Azmin Saleh juga seorang yang hebat dan kita dengar apakah yang hebatnya. Dipersilakan.
Assalamualaikum and hi to everyone. Before we begin, let us watch this video. Now I will introduce about myself. My name is Muhammad Azmin bin Saleh. I am a teacher at Sekolah Kebahasaan Batu Tujuh from 2018 until now. I am a middle leader in my school. This is part of program Sekolah Amanah. I'm also a person of reference for CIDS, which is ERPH. I'm also a person of reference for learning objective, success criteria, creating tools for pupils, assessment for learning, differentiated learning strategies, and last but not least, I'm a candidate for Guru Cemerlang DG44 for this year, 2021. These are the list of innovation and program based from my real-time module. The first two program is the program that I have conducted in my school. For the third one is the program I have conducted at Sekolah Kebangsaan Batu 14. I was invited to give a talk about my real-time module to the teachers there. These are the quick questions. The first one is, what is real-time module is all about? The second one is, how did I create real-time module? And the third one, what's inside the real-time module? Okay, let us look at the synopsis. Okay, to answer the first question, RTM is a module based on live teaching and learning process and aligned with the aspects stated in Standard 4 of SKPM G2. To answer the second question, I have conducted discussion with my fellow middle leader team members and trust school consultants. This module started as a simple worksheet filled with QR code link for entertainment video to replace a pre-lesson, notes for while lesson, and exercises for post-lesson. However, as I evolve this RTM, I've added few functions so that the module will be just like a real-time communication where pupils go through a complete learning process from start to the end. And this module can be adapted for other subjects as well. And to answer the third question, everything in the RTM is based on real-time, face-to-face communication, teaching and learning steps. In set induction, I have came up with a starter question to replace set induction in the real classroom process. So starter question here is to trigger people's readiness to learn. Next, I also have introduced the element of interactive notes where pupils can choose whether they want to read the notes in the module itself, or they can access the notes in the form of videos which prepared by the teacher. Next, for exercise, I also have implemented differentiated learning strategy where pupils with different kind of learning proficiency can still complete the same task regardless of their language proficiency. Teacher also includes hot question to increase creative thinking among pupils. And last but not least, there is also element of extra exercise to cater enrichment and remedial activity, and flip classroom to ensure anticipation among pupils about what they are going to learn on the next lesson. So these are the problem statements why RTM is initiated. Okay, before the government imposed enhanced movement control order or EMCO on people who live in Jalan Pahang, pupils were using modules prepared and photocopied by the teachers. So basically, pupils have to come to the school every 2 weeks to send their finished task and collect the new task to be carried out on the next 2 weeks. AMCO started around end of July after school holiday. Majority of pupils and family members were under quarantine. As a result, they could not come to school like they did before due to movement restriction, and coupled with the fact the school is closed during AMCO period. So this presents a problem for us teachers on how to reach out to our pupils. However, some people can still use WhatsApp as a medium to learn. Despite most of the areas in Jalan Pahang don't have the strong data connection, internet connection, people still can use the basic function of WhatsApp, such as sending text, sending voice notes, sending low resolution videos, and receiving text and pictures. So from here, the teachers like myself, we came up with a solution on how to cater those who can still learn. People also able to access other applications such as YouTube. However, it will take some time before they're able to watch the complete video due to the coverage around their area. It is also important to take note that due to EMCO, a lot of parents were affected economically. As such, people had to conserve and use the mobile data as wisely as possible. So as a teacher, it is imperative for me to consider this as part of the problem and how to overcome this problem, how to help my pupils despite the obstacles that they have to face. So the solution is, this is based on my experience from last year during when pandemic first struck, and through observation on how people responded to modules that I have given earlier before the EMCO imposed. So the teacher came up with module that is as close as real-time teaching and learning process to keep in touch with peoples and to enable them continuing their learning process. So let's get to know real-time module a bit better. So what is a real-time module? Okay, real-time module is created to ensure those who can still participate in teaching and learning process can continue to do so using applications such as WhatsApp, Google Form, and YouTube. So teacher adapted what perceived as normal teaching and learning process in the form of digital module. Digital module here refers to where I have converted PDF files into the form of image. So think of it as if the pupils are learning through the images, words provided in the module instead of learning through the teachers in the classroom. And teacher also made certain alteration and improvements based on previous module in each part to make the learning process seamlessly like in a real classroom lesson, which means there are steps from start to the end, how people are going to achieve the learning objective, how people are going to achieve the success criteria. Right? So what's in RTM? First one is starter question. As mentioned earlier, starter question is a replacement for set induction. Basically, the question here is as a simple one, just to enough to trigger the pupils' knowledge, what they are about to learn on that day. Next is two-part interactive notes. The first one is what I have shared in the form of image, so people can read the notes there, and people also can access the second part, which is in the form of videos in YouTube. And the third one is exercise, which has a differentiated learning strategies element in it. And the next part of RTM is extra exercises to cover enrichment and remedial activities. And last but not least is flipped classroom. This is to make sure pupils prepare about what they're going to learn on the following lesson. For data collection, I will use the samples for year 6 based on my year 6 pupils. There are two classes, dynamic and creative, both taught by me. The pupils are mixed language level of proficiency. So there are those who are considered as weak pupils, and there are those who are considered as very proficient in terms of English language. So there are 72 pupils in total. 29 have gadgets, smartphones specifically, but they are limited in terms of economy. So in the sense that their parents don't have the money to buy that much of internet data, and also the coverage itself is also an obstacle. So some of the areas can access WhatsApp, but it's a bit slow compared to the other areas. All right. So for the first week of the lesson, which is on Tuesday, 12 out of 29 pupils able to respond to all the lesson, while on the other hand, 17 out of 29 pupils able to respond a bit later. Some of them only able to respond during the weekend or on the following weeks due to the as I mentioned before, the economy problem faced by their families. So they will take some time because they need to have some money first before they go and buy data and such. So these are the checklists in making RTM. Okay, the first one, we must have day and date to make sure people follow the schedule set by the teachers. Next, we have a learning objective. I have written the learning objective in Bahasa Melayu to make sure my pupils understand what is the objective on that day. Next is success criteria, also in Bahasa Melayu. A reminder for pupils and parents to make sure that they know it is okay for them to collaborate with their family members. Next is starter question, as I said before. Stimulants in terms of image, video. It could be video just for a leisure purpose to give them a bit of stimulants to stimulate them to learn. Next is notes while learning. Notes here, as I mentioned earlier, there are two parts of notes. The first one is what they got in the form of image, and the second one is what they can access using YouTube. Next is differentiated exercise. There's also HOTS question, higher order thinking skills. And next is enrichment and remedial activities in the form of extra exercise and flipped classroom. And of course, all the materials are interactive to make sure people's engaging themselves while learning during the lesson. Next, we will look at the real-time module for based on the module that I have created for Year 6 pupils. Okay, these are the notes for parents, for family members, and the pupils, what they have to understand before they begin the lesson. Okay, as you can see in the notes here, I have highlighted here the day and the date. Okay, the time that they should adhere to. Okay, and next is objective, the learning objectives. Okay, as I stated before, I use Bahasa Melayu to make sure they understand clearly. Okay, next is the success criteria, also in Malay language. And next is this one right here is the starter question, also in Bahasa Melayu, to make sure they understand what was required for them to answer. Okay, so basically for starter question, they have to go through, read here the question, and straight away answer the question by sending whether they type it or they record their voice and send it to the WhatsApp, to my WhatsApp number. Okay, so this is the notes, the first part of notes. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, in the form of written text. Okay, all right. Now we move on to extra notes. Okay, as you can see on the top here, there are lists of vocabularies to help them understand the text better. And I also provide a YouTube link. We can watch it a bit. Okay, let us watch it. Okay, it's me, Sir Azmin, and this is my wife, Teacher Dani. Okay. All right, so today we're going to learn about the national monument, or known as Negara. Okay, you can see at the top, okay, the title Tugu Negara. Okay, Teacher Dani will read the notes in English, while Sir Azmin will explain to you in Malay what is the meaning of the notes given. Okay, all right. So I hope you enjoy and please listen carefully.
All right, students. Okay, I'm going to read the
Okay, let us continue. Okay, this is the exercise. As you can see, I have mentioned in the instruction, fill in suitable information, watch out for the capital letter to help you. Okay, for instruction, I provide in a dual language form to make sure pupils understand what was needed for them to complete the task. Okay, as you can see, from number 1 until number 8, there are certain words that I change it into all capital letters. Okay, so this is to give them ideas how to answer the questions. Okay, down here you can see there is a HOTS question. Okay, this is same as starter question, where pupils read the questions and straight away answer the questions to the teacher. Okay, I also provided the exercise in the form of Google form. Okay, let us see the Google form. Okay, this is the sample of Google form that I have provided to my pupils. Okay, moving on. All right, this is the extra exercise where people have to match the questions with suitable answers. This is basically to enhance what they have learned on that day. All right, and last but not least is the flipped classroom. Okay, the task here is people have to prepare themselves by recite the poem without the help from teachers, and they have to look for 3 words starts with the letter U. Okay, I will show the pupils' response later on. Okay, all right, this is the next lesson, the continuity from the flipped classroom. Okay, this is the poem. All right, as usual, I provided extra notes. There are vocabularies here, and pupils also can access to YouTube if they can, if they have the data to proceed to YouTube. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, for their flipped classroom task, they have to read it without teacher's help. So if they listen to the YouTube videos and they want to get better marks for their PBD, so they can submit the video again. Okay, this is the exercise. Basically, it's the same like the previous lesson. I have highlighted certain words to make sure they understand how to answer the question. Okay, as usual, there is also a HOTS question where people have to answer straight away, sending through text or voice notes. Okay, I also give them opportunity to answer in the form of Google form, like previous lesson. Okay, this is the extra exercise. Basically, this is the different poem compared to the previous one. Okay, I adapted a certain poem to make people's familiar with the poem itself. Okay, this is the flipped classroom for the following week. For your information, the following week is supposedly their holiday week on September. So this is what they can do during the holiday and submit it to me. So basically, they have to prepare themselves with a 5-line poem recitation. The title is Nature on the textbook, and send their recitation video using WhatsApp. Okay, so this is a step-by-step implementation on how I conducted my real-time module. Okay, the first one is task instructions. This is how I give the task instructions to my pupils. Okay, I give them the instruction in the form of dual language to make sure they understand. Okay, I also provide the link in the text so that they can straight away click on the link and access the YouTube video or Google form. Okay, next is a pupil's response to word starter question. As you can see, some of them answer using Malay language. Some of them attempt to use English language to answer starter question. Okay, this is how I check my pupils' responses for exercises. Okay, some of them choose to type it out on WhatsApp, and some of them also use their own creativity by edit the picture and write the answer on it. Okay, next is people's response to word HOTS question. Okay, like starter question, some of them use English and some of them use Bahasa Melayu. Next is how I check my pupils' response for extra exercises. Okay, as you can see, a majority of them use the image itself. They edit it and draw the line to match the questions with answers, which is very good because they can apply their IT knowledge while answering the questions. Next is constructive feedbacks from me to my pupils. Okay, so what I did here is I guide people's, okay, to make sure they remember when writing people's name, people name, it must be begin with capital letter. So I also give them compliments. Okay, I also give them compliment on how they answer the questions. Like for this particular students, Johaika, which is very good, very creative. Okay, these are another feedbacks given by me after the lesson. So I stated to them overall what they did well on that lesson. Okay, these are the interaction between teacher and pupils. So basically, the left is the people ask me whether how to answer the question. So I provide the template there to make it easier for him. Okay, so there's this student also told me he already completed the exercise using Google Form, right? Okay, these are the people's response towards flipped classroom tasks. Okay, this is for the first part lesson where they have to identify 3 words started with letter U. And the second task is poem recitation. Okay, I will play some of it.
A multiracial land, a land where we reside. Unity, only a 5-letter word, but that's our foundation. Unique with heritage recipe. Sweet, sour, savory, and spicy. They harmoniously blend, making Malaysia a land of glory. Dancers from Joget to Ngajat.
Okay, as you can listen, despite without the teacher's guidance, some of these pupils managed to recite the poem very well. Moving on, these are the rewards for pupils. So basically, to help them ease their burden, I provide them with top up, prepaid reload, to make sure they can still continue learning during my class and other teachers' classes as well. So to conclude, in terms of impact, the real-time module really help people catching up with the lesson. Okay. So in terms of response, the response given by the pupils is very good. They managed to follow step by step the module itself, which is impressive to me. Okay, there are a lot of aspects that I need to improve on for sure. For example, maybe I can do in terms of exercises to make it a bit more challenging for my pupils. So the next step, I will do my best to introduce this to other OA schools, and maybe to help them get insight on how to help their pupils like I did with my pupils. So that is all from me. Thank you so much for listening.
Tahniah Cikgu Muhammad Azmin bin Saleh, guru dari SK Batu 7 Jalan Pahang, kerana beliau dapat mengajar secara atas talian semasa pandemik COVID-19. Dan pembentang seterusnya ialah adalah Cikgu Romizal, Cikgu Romizal Amerosdi. Beliau juga seorang guru yang hebat dan kita saksikan seterusnya Cikgu Romizal bagi pembentang terakhir. Dipersilakan.
Aduh, mesti kamu akan salahkan saya. Itulah cikgu. Tekan kalkulator reti, kira dia tak reti. Hati mana dia penuh saya aja susah. Koma yang rasa sendirilah tak koma lah.
Disapa ketika mengunjungi sesuatu tempat bukan perkara baru bagi Cikgu Romi. Di merata ceruk Malaysia, pasti ada anak murid mayanya. Sedekat melayari laman sesawang dengan memuat naik video-video PDPC hasil rakaman di dalam kelas secara istiqomah bukan sesuatu perkara yang mudah. Pada waktu rakan sekerja yang lain sibuk menulis dan melukis di papan putih untuk mengajar, Cikgu Romi gigih menyambung pelbagai wayar untuk menghasilkan sebuah kelas rakaman layar hijau yang pertama di Malaysia. Penghasilan kelas tersebut memudahkan Cikgu Romi merakam setiap pengajarannya. Hasil video itu akan dibuat naik ke YouTube untuk rujukan anak didiknya. Bukan anak didiknya sahaja yang menonton videonya di YouTube, bahkan lebih ramai lagi murid-murid di serata Malaysia mendapat manfaat daripada video yang telah dimuat naik. Pada 10 tahun yang lepas, apa yang dilakukan oleh Cikgu Romi agak pelik bagi sesetengah pihak.
Satu pembelajaran yang unik lah saya rasa. Sebab kalau kat kelas kita belajar guna whiteboard, kadang tak faham. Kalau kat sini dia lebih terperinci, lebih efektif lah cara pembelajaran dia.
Pada masa kini, kaedah pembelajaran yang diutarakan oleh Cikgu Romi bukan lagi asing bagi guru-guru dan murid-murid. Video-video pengajaran guru-guru di Malaysia telah banyak memenuhi ruang muka YouTube. Jika dahulu hanya ada sebuah kelas rakaman layar hijau yang dipelopori oleh Cikgu Romi, kini merata sekolah berlumba-lumba menghasilkan studio green screen. Kelas rakaman layar hijau yang dihasilkan Cikgu Romi menjadi penanda aras oleh guru-guru serata Malaysia dan sering dipaparkan di kaca-kaca TV.
Inisiatif guru dari Sekolah Menengah Seri Setia Teluk Intan Perak, Romizal Amir Rosdi pula dibuat dengan mewujudkan kelas teknologi layar hijau pertama di Malaysia.
Lebih unik, proses pembelajaran di dalam kelas turut dirakam sebelum dimasukkan ke laman YouTube untuk memudahkan pelajar membuat ulang kaji.
Menurut Cikgu Romizal, 37 tahun yang juga lulusan Sarjana Muda Kejuruteraan Mechanical Universiti Teknologi Malaysia UTM, idea ini tercetus sejak tahun 2008. 4 tahun selepas itu, penambahbaikan terus dilakukan dengan menggunakan teknologi layar hijau yang lebih mudah difahami pelajarnya, terutama dalam subjek lukisan kejuruteraan dan matematik.
Ketika bermulanya pandemik COVID-19 awal tahun 2020, guru-guru tercari-cari kaedah terbaik untuk mengajar anak murid di rumah masing-masing. Cikgu Romi boleh menarik nafas lega kerana boleh berkongsi lebih 4,000 video sebagai pembelajaran anak muridnya dengan lebih 8 juta tontonan. Sebagai inisiatif membantu guru-guru menghasilkan video pengajaran untuk PDPR, Cikgu Romi bersama-sama kumpulan Cikgu Tube berkongsi ilmu, teknik dan kemahiran untuk menghasilkan video-video pembelajaran berdasarkan pengalaman yang ada. Cikgu Romi merupakan peneraju Cikgu Tube yang merupakan salah satu inisiatif Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia bagi melahirkan lebih ramai guru menghasilkan video pendidikan. Latihan yang diberikan bukan sahaja kepada guru-guru, malah turut melibatkan pensyarah IAB dan pensyarah matrikulasi. Cikgu Romi juga bertanggungjawab membantu BSTP dalam mencari dan memilih guru-guru yang berkelayakan untuk diketengahkan dalam rancangan Didik TV KPM. Semoga dengan perkongsian yang dibuat akan melahirkan lebih ramai guru maya di Malaysia juga di dunia. Cikgu Romi sedekat membawa kelas ke alam maya.
Hai teman-teman, jangan lupa subscribe channel ini dan tekan butang loceng.
Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Romizal Amir bin Rosdi dari SMK Sultan Abdullah Cenderung Balai Perak. Hari ini saya akan kongsikan bersama anda semua berkaitan QR code stiker. Mari kita saksikan. Biasanya kita akan dengar QR code, tapi kali ini saya perkenalkan kepada anda semua adalah CR code. Apa itu CR code? CR code adalah Cikgu Romi code. Ya, masih lagi menggunakan kod QR, tapi saya ubah nama kepada CR code untuk menunjukkan bahawa kod yang terhasil adalah daripada Cikgu Romi. Apakah objektif penghasilan CR code stiker ini? Okey, kalau nak tengok, ini adalah CR code yang telah dihasilkan. Okey. Setakat ini kita ada 3 mata pelajaran untuk CR code. Ya. Okey, kita tengok apakah objektif utama bagi penghasilan CR code. Yang pertama adalah untuk menjimatkan masa pencarian video-video grafik, komunikasi teknikal dan matematik yang telah saya hasilkan di YouTube. Sebelum ni, setiap pembelajaran yang saya lakukan di dalam kelas, saya akan upload ke YouTube. Jadi, ini akan bagi memudahkan pelajar untuk membuat rujukan. Masalahnya adalah ketika murid membuat ulang kaji, mereka sukar untuk mencari video-video tersebut. Sebab apa? Sebab video saya di YouTube banyak. Nak tahu berapa? Nanti kita tengok ya. Okey. Yang seterusnya, tujuan utama atau objektifnya adalah menambah nilai buku teks KSSM, grafik komunikasi teknikal tingkatan 4 dan juga matematik tingkatan 1 dan tingkatan 2. Jadi saya telah hasilkan stiker-stiker QR ini untuk grafik komunikasi teknikal tingkatan 4 dan juga matematik tingkatan 1 dan 2. Okey, sumber rujuk kenapa saya menggunakan buku teks, kerana semua murid di Malaysia ini menggunakan buku teks yang sama. Okey, seterusnya adalah untuk ulang kaji kendiri yang lebih menarik menggunakan teknologi yang sedia ada. QR code bukan lagi asing bagi kita sekarang sebab dengan terjadinya pandemik, orang dah tahu dah. Scan QR code. Kalau sebelum ni memang ramai yang tak tahu apa itu QR code. Okay, seterusnya adalah untuk menambah minat murid terhadap subjek grafik, komunikasi teknikal dan juga matematik. Seterusnya, menggalakkan murid dan guru menggunakan kaedah flip classroom sebagai budaya pembelajaran. Siapa sasaran untuk QR code stiker ini? Yang pertama adalah untuk guru grafik komunikasi teknikal sebab mudah ya untuk membuat flip classroom. Ya, seterusnya guru matematik, murid yang mengambil mata pelajaran grafik komunikasi teknikal dan juga untuk murid matematik yang mengambil subjek matematik tingkatan 1 dan 2. Pasti yang akan ada tertanya-tanya, Cikgu Romi mana dia? Takkan tingkatan 1 dan 2? Tingkatan 3, 4 dan 5 mana? Ya, tingkatan 3, 4 dan 5 dalam proses penghasilan video. Okey, bagaimana penghasilan CR code stiker ini? Okey, yang pertama, kod QR yang digunakan oleh Cikgu Romi adalah untuk menyimpan link ya. Menyimpan link video Cikgu Romi yang berada di YouTube. Jadi, link tersebut, okey, saya gunakan dia sebagai stiker supaya kita mudah untuk menampal di dalam buku teks. Kalau kita tengok, kita akan tampal stiker tersebut di dalam buku teks. Seterusnya, sebelum ini saya telah menghasilkan video di YouTube. Saya ada 2 channel video di YouTube, iaitu channel untuk matematik dan juga grafik komunikasi teknikal, di mana di YouTube saya ada lebih 2543 video. Bayangkan dalam beribu-ribu video tu, kalau murid untuk membuat ulang kaji tu dia susah nak cari kan, ambil masa lah. Boleh tapi dia ambil masa. Jadi dengan adanya CR code stiker ni, dia menjimatkan masa. Manakala untuk video grafik komunikasi teknikal, kita ada lebih kurang 1272 video. Banyak tu nak memilih. Jadi saya dah siapkan pemilihan video tersebut. Sebelum ni saya ada gunakan laman web matematik untuk saya susun. Video-video. Tapi dia agak leceh sikit lah sebab kita kena masuk website, kita kena klik tingkatan berapa, memilih video-video yang sesuai, agak ambil masa juga. Jadi nak menyingkatkan masa itulah kita buat QR code stiker. Ya, bagaimana? Ya, biasanya dalam video-video saya di YouTube kita ada link dia. Kita tengok sini, kita ada link dia. Okey. Link ini kita akan masukkan dalam software untuk menukarkan bentuk link tersebut dalam bentuk QR code. Okey, kita hanya masukkan link tersebut dalam link yang disediakan, kotak link yang disediakan. Jadi secara automatik QR code akan terhasil. Saya menggunakan Presian QR Code Studio, ya, QR Code Studio yang boleh kita muat turun secara percuma di www.tech-it.com. Jadi bila dah hasilkan QR code tersebut, maka inilah maklumat-maklumat yang ada pada setiap satu stiker QR code atau CR code. Yang pertama sekali kita ada kod QR ini. Okey, kod QR ini. Yang kedua kita ada tajuk pembelajaran untuk memudahkan. Okey, memudahkan kita nak tampal tu, ya. Kita nak menampal stiker tersebut. Dan juga kita ada muka surat dalam buku teks. Contohnya yang ini adalah tajuk kuasa 2 dalam buku teks muka surat 48. Ya, inilah maklumat-maklumat yang ada untuk di setiap stiker QR. Okey, saya telah menghasilkan tiga untuk 3 buku teks. Yang pertama adalah buku teks tingkatan 1, ya, buku teks tingkatan 1 KSSM. Di mana dalam stiker ini kita ada lebih kurang 129 kod. 129 kod bermakna, oh ni silap ni. Bermakna kita ada 129 video pembelajaran. Okey, nampak tu, itu dia kod-kod yang telah dihasilkan. Seterusnya matematik tingkatan 2. Saya telah menghasilkan sebanyak 111 kod di mana kita ada 111 video pembelajaran. Manakala untuk grafik komunikasi teknikal tingkatan 4 kita ada 65 QR code di mana ada 65 video pembelajaran juga. Bagaimana untuk menggunakan QR code ini? Yang pertama sekali, okey, saya tunjuk contoh. Yang pertama sekali, okey, ini adalah contoh yang telah digunakan, okey, stiker yang telah digunakan. Pertama sekali umpil. Kita akan umpil. Okey, kita akan umpil macam ni, lebih kurang. Saya tunjuk. Kita akan umpil. Tak boleh fokus. Tak boleh umpil setiap satu stiker QR code ini dan berpandukan pada maklumat yang ada. Contoh yang ini muka surat 187. Kita akan buka buku teks. Kalau ini matematik tingkatan 1. Okey, kita akan buka buku teks matematik 187. Jadi kita buka muka surat 187. Maka kita boleh tampal di tepi buku teks tersebut. Dia tampal jadi macam ni. Okey. Oh, tak nampak, dia terang sangat. Okey, kita akan tampal di tepi. Jadi kita akan dapat macam ini dia punya cara kita menampalnya. Kemudian ketika kita mengulang kaji, okey, bila kita dah tampal tu, bila kita baca tajuknya, contohnya kita ada tajuk yang ini, muka surat 140 ini. Bila kita tampal, kita hanya scan sahaja menggunakan smartphone dan juga aplikasi QR code scanner. Ya, kita hanya scan sahaja. Okey, kita hanya scan sahaja apps QR code tersebut. Okey, kita akan dapat bila kita dah scan, kita akan terus klik link dan kita akan dibawa terus kepada video yang berkaitan ya, video yang berkaitan. Okey, contoh ya ini video yang berkaitan. Okey, dia akan bawa terus kepada video Cikgu Romi di YouTube. Okey, itu adalah bagaimana. Apakah impaknya? Yang pertama sekali, PDPC dalam kelas lebih mudah kerana murid lebih bersedia dengan pengetahuan yang sedia ada. Jadi bagi saya di dalam kelas, sebelum saya memulakan PDPC, saya akan maklumkan kepada murid saya untuk baca dulu. Kalau tak faham, okey, buat ulang kaji dulu kendiri di rumah, di mana buka surat berapa, dan mereka akan scan QR code dan belajar dulu. Maknanya dia akan, sebelum dia masuk kelas, dia ada pengetahuan. Dia tahu dulu, dia belajar dulu daripada video yang ada. Seterusnya, video tontonan meningkat di YouTube. Kalau tengok, saya mulakan QR code ini sejak daripada 2018. So, kita akan bermula daripada 2018 di sini. Okey, kalau kita tengok 2018 di sini, peningkatannya begitu ketara lah sehingga sekarang ya. Kalau kita nak bandingkan, itu adalah daripada bulanan. Okey, kalau kita tengok daripada graf ni, 2018 bermula di sini, nampak grafnya semakin meningkat berbanding tahun-tahun yang sebelumnya di situ. Okey, itu adalah impaknya. Cabaran, apakah cabaran dalam penghasilannya? Cabarannya menghasilkan video lah. Sebab menghasilkan video ni memakan masa. Okay? Untuk satu-satu tingkatan penghasilan videonya mengambil masa setahun untuk menghasilkan video. Kemudian daripada video itu kita kena susun mengikut muka surat di buku teks. Seterusnya teknik dan kaedah menghasilkan video tu pun penting. Ambil masa untuk kita belajar. Dan yang seterusnya adalah kita kena istiqamah. Nak mengistiqamah dalam menghasilkan video itu juga merupakan satu cabaran. Sebab bukan sekejap untuk menghasilkan video. Okey, apakah harapan? Apakah harapan? Adalah menjadi harapan saya agar QR code stiker ini dapat membantu bukan sahaja anak murid saya, tetapi murid-murid di luar sana untuk lebih mudah mengulang kaji pelajaran secara kendiri. Lebih-lebih lagi waktu pandemik yang kita kena buat PDPR di rumah ini. Okey, penghasilan QR code ini juga merupakan dia murah. Okey, kita hanya menghasilkan, cuma dia ambil masa je, dan diharap dapat memberi nilai tambah yang tinggi dengan penggunaan buku teks. Okey, sejak pandemik COVID-19 ini juga ramai guru-guru yang menghasilkan video. Saya harap dengan adanya penghasilan yang telah saya bawa ini dapat memberi idea kepada guru-guru lain. Kalau sekarang saya masih lagi mengajar matematik dan juga grafik komunikasi teknikal, ramai guru di luar sana yang ada subjek lain yang ada buat video juga, diharap boleh mendapat idea untuk membuat QR stiker ini juga untuk subjek yang lain. Okey, saya harap dengan pembentangan ini dapat membantu semua. Kita jumpa lagi di masa akan datang. Bye bye.
Tahniah Cikgu Romizal, hebat sekali. Semoga dapat membantu guru-guru di luar sana dan kita mendapat manfaat dan kita memanfaatkan apa yang Cikgu Romizal hasilkan. Tahniah sekali lagi kepada semua pembentang-pembentang. 4 pembentang telah membentangkan pada pagi ini. Dan saya mengundurkan diri, saya serahkan kembali kepada Cik Nur Azman Shah Muhammad Yusof. Dipersilakan.
Terima kasih sahabat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okey, itu tadi Cikgu Rosmizal yang bermula 2003, seingat saya telah pun terkenal dengan visualizernya dan hingga kini lebih dikenali sebagai Cikgu Tube. Kalau nak sebut tentang anugerahnya, memang bersusun-susun pelbagai anugerah yang telah diterima dan akhirnya beliau merupakan diiktiraf sebagai Guru Nadi Negara dan sebagai Chief Master 1 Cikgu Tube. So ladies and gentlemen, so we have done sharing with our 4 talented presenter using their own method of knowledge transfer. Each of them has come forward to show us and share with us their different skill of teaching. Perhaps This will benefit for our children in school with positive impact and be better in future. Thank you and have a nice day. Okay, Mr. Sarah, back to
Thank you
you.
very much, Tuan Haji Azman. I
Okay, no
think,
joke, Mr. Sarah.
thank you
Please
so
treat
much.
me, okay?
Thank you so
Don't forget
much.
about nasi kanda and coffee.
Well,
Send with courier.
yeah, definitely. Anytime. Whenever you all come to Penang, we can take
Yeah.
you to the best nasi kanda, which is more than 100 over years old. Okay.
All right.
Fantastic sharing by all the teachers in Perak. Cikgu Romi, okay, more than 4,000 videos. I've been following you for a very, very, very long time. Very, very long time. I've been following you. You're an inspiration to many people, many teachers. All right. And I hope that everybody is like you. I hope everybody is like you, Teacher Uromi. And please, carry on, doing what you're doing and don't stop. Please don't stop. Never stop, no matter what happens. Because in one part of my life, I nearly gave up, So, but I managed to pull back. There will be a lot of challenges. I know, Chegurumi, there'll be a lot of challenges. And it is the best part being a teacher in Malaysia is just like what our first presenter said, 27 students in one school. And I really wish one day, Chegurumi, we can do one project so that we can bring what you're doing to our students in Sabah and Sarawak. Because over there, they have infrastructure issues, internet issues, and so forth. And I'm very sure my comrades, Mr. Azmi from BTP Sabah, will agree with me. And any participants from Sabah and Sarawak will agree with us, Chegurumi. So I suggest that one day you go there, find out the issues there, and let's try to solve their problems. Okay. Currently, I'm assisting some students in University of Auckland, whereby we are involved in remote learning in New Zealand. It's very interesting because remote learning over there and remote learning in Malaysia, it's very far different. Very, very far different. They have different time zones. We don't have different time zones. That's a great challenge for us. Can't do anything live. So thank you very much for all the presenters of best practices from Perak. Congratulations to all of you. The amount of time, money you spend, effort, the noble idea you have with you is really amazing. Fantastic. I know the sacrifices of teachers is really great. Okay. Without further ado, I would like to call upon Dr. Hadi. Okay, Dr. Hafiz, are you online? Anybody in the backstage?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Sarah. So for the next session,
Yes,
we
Dr.
will
Hadi.
begin. Yeah, we will begin shortly.
Okay.
So we will
Give me
bring.
some time. Give me the cue, then I can start it
All
for
right.
you later.
Yes. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's share something, everybody. One more thing that I would like to say here is that just like what Chegurumi did and what our presenters did just now, try to market your products. That's very, very important. Marketing your products will make sure that there's a continuous supply. Chigurumi, now you have 63,000 followers and so forth. I really wish that you have more than 1 million followers. That's what I pray. Because as you know, many people hate mathematics.
Yeah.
Many people hate mathematics, Chigurumi.
Sekejap.
Chigurumi, how much
Kita
money did you
belum end
spend?
lagi best
I'm
practices
sure you
session.
spent a lot of money to buy the gadgets.
Kalau nak kira kan, sebenarnya dia berperingkat-peringkat sebab saya ni bukannya poket tebal sangat kan, kata orang Perak kan. Poket tak tebal kan. Jadi saya dah buat tu 10 tahun. Jadi setiap tahun tu kita akan manage untuk upgrade dari masa ke semasa lah. Mungkin sebelum ni kita pakai webcam yang harganya RM2-30 kan. Bila dah depan tu kita upgrade. Kalau tengok daripada segi kualiti video pun, kalau bandingkan dulu dengan sekarang memang jauh berbeza lah. Bila sebab saya tak berani sebut untuk jumlah yang saya laburkan sebab nanti dia akan yang baru-baru nak naik ni akan terus down. Banyak duit kena spend ni. Itu sebab saya cakap kita kena start dulu. Kita kena mula. Kita kena first step itu. First step itulah yang menentukan kejayaan kita dan jangan putus asa lah, itulah. InsyaAllah. Terima kasih banyaklah Tuan sebab atas sokongan, atas motivasi atau kata-kata semangat yang diberikan kan. Sebenarnya macam cikgu-cikgu di luar sana yang seperti saya, dia sebenarnya tak, duit tu dia tak kisah sangat, tapi sebenarnya doa daripada rakan-rakan sekeliling tu yang penting, insyaAllah. Okay Tuan.
Very good, Cikgu Rosmi. One more thing, Cikgu Rosmi. Why you don't want to do a PhD?
Go for it.
InsyaAllah saya cuba.
Yeah, because sebab you can take your YouTube channel's production as your research. Because you dah ada problem statement tu, you dah ada dah. Okay. So why don't you just publish your research?
Yeah, InsyaAllah.
And because system tu Cikgu Rumi dah develop dah.
Yeah, betul.
So your research will be based on what you have done.
Yeah.
Why, what, the theories behind that.
Ada cuma penulisan ilmiah je tak ada lagi.
Yes.
InsyaAllah. Doakan saya diberi kekuatan untuk menyambung lagi lah.
Teruskan.
InsyaAllah.
Definitely.
Alright, Mr. Sarah, can we wrap this up so that we can
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much to all the participants.
All right,
thank you, Mr. Gore. Thank you so much to Jasmine. Okay, thank you very much to Cikgu Romi and so forth. Okay. Now I would like to call upon Dr. Hadi.